We are gathered here in this sacred place where Buddha Shakyamuni attained enlightenment. And so regarding the time that we are in today, we are in a degenerate age, a decadent age. Despite that, the Buddha Dharma is shining forth all around the world. And so the teaching of the Buddha, in essence, is what the Buddha himself has stated. The Buddhas do not, the sages do not wash away the sins of sentient beings. They do not remove the suffering of sentient beings with their hands, nor do they transpose their own realization into other beings, but by showing the truth of the reality of truth, he helps beings to liberate, to become liberated. And so, and then the Buddha's, because of that, what the Buddha is saying is that the suffering that we experience is something that the Buddha cannot remove by his hands, nor the causes of suffering, which are the sins, can be washed away with water. But how do we actually create suffering in ourselves and others is due to our own negative emotions. And so because of that, we need to understand that because of our ignorance, we are creating negative karmas. And because of that, we suffer. And therefore, the teaching talks about causality, law of causality itself, which is quite scientific as well. And then the essence of the Buddha's teaching also is stated in this verse where the Buddha says, do not do any evil, cultivate the wealth of virtue, and tame your mind completely. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. And so whether you are a believer or not in a religion doesn't matter. What is important for us to do is to avoid doing bad actions, bad karmas. And because bad karmas not only harm others, but it's also a cause of ruin to oneself as well. And therefore, what the Buddha has told us to practice is that of virtue. And so cultivating a wealth of virtue with a good heart, if you do that, then you will have the positive consequences of that. And so the most important teaching of the Buddha in essence is to be of benefit to others rather than harming them. And so this does not only confine to people following religion, but also non-believers can do that. And so we should do our best to help other sentient beings, to benefit other sentient beings, rather than harming them. And so by doing that, what you actually gain is peace of mind within yourself through the practice of virtue and avoiding non-virtuous actions. And so with that, what happens is with the peace of mind, you also are experience physical health as well. So as a consequence of your peace of mind. And what we usually do is out of anger, attachment, and all these negative emotions, we try to do all kinds of bad things. But that's not what we should do. Even if you may do some prayers, if you are angry, if you are in a state of anger, it doesn't really help. Your prayers will not help. And therefore, what the Dharma in essence is to, what we should do in terms of the Dharma is to first study the Dharma well, and then whatever you have studied, you should reflect on them, and using reasons and logic and so forth, and then apply the teaching within yourself. And we should not just follow the teaching blindly, just resorting to scriptural authority without using our mind and brain. And therefore, what we can see in the world today, if you look around, is that we suffer as a consequence of our bad actions. And so negative actions must be avoided. And we should not create bad karma, because bad karma brings suffering to ourselves and others. And so, in terms of the practice of the Dharma, in broadly thinking, what you should try to do is to cultivate altruistic attitude, the spirit of enlightenment or awakening, which is bodhicitta. As we say the prayer, in order to fulfill the goals or interests of oneself and others, may I generate bodhicitta. And also, having generated this supreme state of mind, or called altruism, the bodhicitta, may I call upon all sentient beings as my guests to the feast of the enlightenment. And so, just as we pray like that, we should always try to be kind to others, be beneficial, be of help to others, rather than harming them.